of course, you know the book that he wrote, The Lies About Muhammad. It's a response to Robert Spencer's book about the Prophet, the lies that he spoke actually, say about the Prophet Muhammad, which he entitled The Truth About Muhammad. So the response to that was The Lies About Muhammad, and also recently, in fact just last week, he debated with Robert Spencer and Daniel Pipes. It was on a Christian channel. We have the links for anyone who wants to see that video, inshallah. And he also says that there is an upcoming one. Perhaps he'll give you more details about that, inshallah. So I hand you over to him.
Inshallah, before we forget, the next debate, it's going to be, inshallah, between my humble self and Robert Spencer on January 28th. And inshallah, I'll send the link at the time of the date to my brother Sheikh Abu Zaman, inshallah, and we'll let you know, inshallah, about it. Very important topic. You need to learn how to attack Islam so you can defend Islam not only for yourself but for your children. Your children are bombarded wherever they go with these false, absurd accusations against the Prophet, and the answer is usually just one sentence, one hadith, one historical fact. So we need to tell about our deen as the order of Prophet Muhammad when he said, about me even by one verse, but also we need to protect our existence in the West because that's what they're targeting. So inshallah, that's a very important topic, and it's a different issue, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala sayyidil khalqi wa ashrafil mursalin sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawmid din. Allahumma la ilaha illa anta wahdaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. The topic of today is a very important topic. And inshallah, before we start, I want to just give you quick 2 points, 2 features of the Shara of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we need to understand, very fundamental ones. The first one could not be explained better than the ayah 157 in Surah Al-Araf. And I want you to go, inshallah, open the Quran, Surah Al-Araf 157, and read it for yourself. It tells you what is the purpose of halal and haram and the entire Shara of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ وَيَضَعُ عَنْهُمْ إِصْرَهُمْ وَالْأَغْلَالَ الَّتِي كَانَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ. What does the verse tell us? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us? Whatever that is good for you in this life, with the ultimate knowledge and wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made halal for you. So you know what is halal? What is halal is what is good for you, and what is truly good for you, with the ultimate knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not with our limited comprehension, that is what is halal. And whatever that is harmful and hurtful for you, whether short-term, long-term, whether you're aware of it or not, for you individually or for your society collectively now or tomorrow, because it's harmful, because it's hurtful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade it and made it haram. Haram and haram are almost the same word. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says halal, that's for your benefit. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says haram, that's for your protection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not even care for one iota of this world, this planet, this galaxy, or the entire universe. That is halal and haram for you. The other feature of Islamic law, and that system of halal and haram, the more you study the fiqh of our shar, you would see that the more damage that the haram can cause for you individually, the bigger the punishment, the bigger the warning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in the Quran, in the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you see something that can cause a devastating effect, you're going to find the warning and the alarming bells, and in the verses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives and promises severe torture for that. Why? Because it hurts you, it hurts your society, whether you know or not. For that, I remember the correct hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. إِذَا ظَهَرَ الرِّبَا وَالزِّنَا فِي قَرْيَةٍ فَقَدْ أَحَلُّوا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ عَذَابَ اللَّهِ. If riba, interest, transactions, and zina, adultery and fornication, are rampant and prevalent in a society, that society have asked for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to torture them in this dunya and the thereafter. Think about it. Why zina and riba? Why not killing? SubhanAllah, you kill a soul that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade that it will be killed unless justly. Why not stealing? And there are abominations too. Min al-kabair. Because there are stealth sins. And they destroy societies. When somebody's killed, there's a dead body, there's blood, his family is going to look for him, his family is going to want a revenge, and so on and so forth, and people will not rest till they find out what happened. When money is stolen, you know that what's stolen from you, you're going to look for it, you're going to look for the thief, you're going to report it, and so on and so forth. Zina and riba like cancers. Painless, you don't feel them till it's too late, and the society is devastated. SubhanAllah, this country in the 60s, girls did not date, and if a girl gets pregnant without marriage, it's a big deal. They were like almost had some of the conservative Islamic manners. SubhanAllah, look now, almost 66% of all newborns are out of a legitimate marriage, illegitimate relationships, no marriage. So when we put our children in a public school, 6 out of 10 children around them are sons and daughters of zina. Why? Because people with their man-made theology, and they created laws for people, they destroyed the fabric of their society. And when you ask them, well, we're two consenting adults in a hotel room and we're not hurting anyone. That's what people think. But subhanAllah, when that is rampant, when I can move from a bar to a date to a hotel to whatever it is, why do I need to get married? Why do I need to carry the responsibility of a wife and child support and children? It's a fortune that you have to work hard for the rest of your life. And then no one gets married, and when they get married, 2-3 years, 50% of marriages end up with divorce. Why? Because the first problem with the wife, well, I can go to the bar around the corner and, we can live together and boyfriend and girlfriend, and why bother? And children are devastated, and so on and so forth. Think about, alright, inshallah, we want to reverse that back and bring it back to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine you need to change the psychology and the social structure of an entire society. It's very hard, it's only miraculous. You need the effort of an entire revolution of La ilaha illallah to change that. The second thing, which is riba, and I go back to the levels of halal and haram and how the punishment increases when the damage increases. One of the last ayat that were revealed to mankind at the end of Surah Al-Baqarah. Matter of fact, one of the major abominations at the end of the life of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ were these verses. Look at the promise of torture. It's not that you angered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not that you disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. You do riba, and subhanAllah, it's like poison. If you take the riba, you get the same punishment as the one who lent the riba, as the same one who witnessed the contract. He did not buy, he did not borrow, he did not lend. Just to witness the contract. Get the same sin. Even the people who wrote the contract, just wrote it. Not witness it or anything, just wrote the contract, and they have nothing to do with it. Everyone is sinning, and everyone as if waging a war against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. Not disobeying Him, not angering Him, waging a war against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us ayat. And the word ayah in the Quran, a lot of people think it's only verse. Ayah is 84 times in the Quran in the meaning of miracle, or sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or proof from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 2008, the economy, the way they structured it around riba, came so excessive that at the end of 2008, the entire world was devastated. In America, 8 to 10 million jobs were lost. And with each job lost, there's a devastated family, there's a divorce that's going to happen, and so on and so forth. The top law firms in Manhattan would not take divorce cases anymore because they were flooded, did not have enough attorneys to handle the divorce cases because all of the careers that were destroyed. The country of Iceland went bankrupt. Went bankrupt. People put the ATM cards in the machine, did not get cash out of their bank accounts. Till Russia bailed them. Greece is the same way, bankrupt, and they just bailed out. And Portugal is in the way, and Spain, and they just bailed Ireland for about $100 billion. How many business went down? How many lives were destroyed? How many people committed suicide in Europe? SubhanAllah, I always tell this about thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This German billionaire started the year with $11 billion and had to kill himself at the end of the year because, of course, he does not know how to say Alhamdulillah, and he could not live anymore with the fact that now his net worth is only $8 billion. SubhanAllah. So all that devastation, and they spend about $6 trillion. You know what $1 trillion is? 1,000 6 and so many zeros next to it. Just to try to hope to bring back the world economy next to the level of 2007. And when you ask anyone who knows anything about economics, he will tell you the reason is excessive leverage. What is excessive leverage? Excessive riba. Not just riba, excessive riba. Lehman Brothers, before they went bankrupt, the biggest bankruptcy in the history of America was $200 billion. That was WorldCom, which we know by the name of MCI. Lehman Brothers declared bankruptcy of $620 billion. Why? The government allowed him, you know what, for each $1 million that you have, you can lend traders in the financial markets up to $40 million. Again, it's just the collateral for $1 million. So when their investments started to go down and that $1 million was lost, where the $39 billion would come from? It came from you and everyone else in America. They had to bail them out and bail the banks and so on and so forth. Why is that? Because you started with the riba. Let's look at that model. Now we're talking worldwide, talk about an individual model. Two things. Personal loans, credit cards, and mortgages. First, credit cards. People think that when they get that pre-approved credit card in the mail, $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 is like income. The credit card company likes you so much and they just send you a gift to spend and buy whatever they want to buy. SubhanAllah. People spend and forget and they get the bill. Well, the minimum payment is $40, $50, $100, whatever it is. If you keep making that payment, the $1,000 would take you 8 years and you'd have paid $6,000 for that $1,000 that they send you for free. No wonder they're fighting for it, and it's the easiest way to rip people off and make money sitting down hands-free. The same way with all the credit cards, revolving account, personal loans, and they put the advertisement, buy this washing machine only for $29 a month. Any man with a brain would say $29 a month, how many months? So what's the total amount I'm going to be paying? And you discover that they pay double, triple, and sometimes 4 times the amount of whatever the washing machine, whatever that you're buying, cost you from the beginning. It is the easiest way to steal money from people and rip people off. Let me explain to you why and how. Let's say I have a factory and I have a product that costs $10. I take that $10 and I sell that product after I finish it. That cost me $10. I sell it for $15. I have $5 profit. For some reason, I need to expand. There's demand for that product, so I want more money. The Islamic way is what we call in financial markets equity financing way. Someone would come to me, here's money, give me with the same percentage of money that I add to your business, a percentage of the profit or the loss. So let's say if I give you 50% more than we're 50-50 partners, I get 50% of the profit or 50% of the loss. Fair deal, business is good, I get money, business is bad, I take money, and there's no zone, there's no pressure in it. The way of riba, you know what? Give us a guarantee of the business or any assets that you have, and we don't care about your profit or loss, you have to give us 20% a year or 15% a year. So if I fall into the haram of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what happens? I take the money from them. Now, where's the problem? It's a private transaction between me and that bank, and there's a rich man in the bank who has money, and his money is making him more money while he's sitting down. Where's the problem? The problem is that product that I used to sell for $15 will not sell for $15 anymore. I need to pay the $2 interest to the bank. So for the same product, and I'm the same person, and the same economy, and the same conditions, I'm going to go sell that product for $17. $5 my usual profits, and the $2 interest for the bank. So all of a sudden, the existence of riba gave that rich man sitting next to the bank, who's not producing any economic activity. I am the one who's taking the risk, and I'm the one who's doing the economic activity. Give him a mechanism or a hand to stick his hand in everywhere in the economy and take $2 extra that he does not deserve. And it reduces the value of your money, because if your money was to buy something for 15, now the same amount of money would need to pay 17 for it. The value of your dollar goes down, and from that comes inflation, and from that comes all the boom and bust cycles in the economy. One other thing before we move into, inshallah, the topic, which how we get rid of it now, inshallah, is that the reason that riba is haram in Islam, and the riba are 2 kinds. Riba al-fadl or riba al-nasiya. Riba al-nasiya is the riba that we know, loan, benefit, interest rate, whatever it is, then that is haram. Riba al-fadl, when people used to trade silver with gold or gold with silver, try to make profits in the transactions themselves. The haram, truly, the essence of the fiqh or illat al-hukm comes from the fact that you're not producing any economic activity. When the person lent me the money as a Muslim brother and became equity or partner sharing with me, you know what? We went out there, started a factory, bought raw materials, hired people, went out there, produced economic activity that benefited us and benefited everyone that we deal with. The riba, the way they do it, because I am rich, my money makes me money while I'm sitting down. And I am like a leech or a parasite on top of the people that borrow and go and make the economic activity. So that is the illah of the hukm. Now we come to the credit cards. And we're not assuming that any of us here, inshallah, that have fell into riba, but if you did fall into riba, then you need to know that. And if you did not fall into riba, please learn and teach other people, Muslims or non-Muslims. At the end of the day, riba, when it's rampant in society, even though you're not dealing with it, it'll come and hurt you. Like the job opportunities are less, like the value of our houses, even though it's fully paid, are less because we are in a society that is rampant in riba. So fight riba and fight that haram as much as you can. The way is easy. The technique is easy and it makes sense. When I tell you, you would say to yourself, how come I didn't think of that before? But the point is the consistency and the sincerity. The shart of tawbah, there's 5 conditions of tawbah that will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you regret it, that you swear and you have it in your heart that you're not going to repeat it again, that you actually do not do it again, and in the future you don't do it, and at the end, inshallah, you make that tawbah not at the, when one is passing away, or when the sun rises from the west, not from the east. So the first condition of tawbah for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless your money and you rest that you vow, I'll never borrow with riba, credit cards, department stores cards, personal cars, whatever it is, ever again. That is the condition. Now, here's the way. Number 1. The good news is that your credit card payments are relative to your income. You'll never find credit card companies lend someone with a $50,000 income and they're going to go lend them $1 million. So if you're making your payments right now, that is relevant to your income. And if we do not do what we're going to do, inshallah, then you can keep making your payment and they're going to keep enslaving you, paying the thing 6-fold or 5-fold till the whole thing is paid after whatever time. Why is that good news? All we need is that you give us a break. What does that mean? We want you to get a list of all the credit cards that count, all the personal accounts, everything that you pay interest with, and make a list of them. We don't care what is the interest rate. We don't care, what kind of credit cards or what kind of personal accounts. All we care about is the balances. You bring me the bigger balance, and then the smaller until we get to the smallest balance. Here's what we need to do. All we need is to save something monthly that you can save out of your expending. A lot of people say, you know what, whatever that I make, I spend my children, my family, and the payments, and there's no room. There's always a room. All we need, even to start with $50, $40, the bigger the better. How? I eat once a month outside. Do not eat once a month outside. That's the $20 or $40 you save. I buy my meals or my lunch from outside. No, cook it at home, prepare sandwiches at home, whatever it is, and take it with you. You have your insurance, car insurance. You know what, the deductible, let's say it's $1,000, meaning that, or $500. When I have an accident, I'll pay only $500, and then the insurance company will pay the rest. Call the insurance company, tell them I want my deductible to be $2,500. Most of us, inshallah, do not have accidents. When you raise that deductible, all of a sudden your insurance that you pay would go down significantly. That would save you a lot of money over the year. The coffee that you buy outside, whatever it is that clothes, even some people came with a very creative thing. He said, you know what, my heating bill is like $200, $300 a month. I'll put an extra layer of clothes and I'll put, blankets on top of myself and I'll turn down the heat, and I'll save $100 a month. And it's doable and it's not haram. The haram is riba. Wearing extra clothes is not haram. There's a million ways that you save money, as little as $50. Let's say we save $50. Now what we do, we get a list, we already vowed with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll get out of riba, we're not going to do it again. The smallest account, let's say, it has a minimum payment of $40. What we're going to do, the $50 that we now save a month, we're going to add it to that $40. So now we're paying what? $90. And all of a sudden, the magic starts to happen. What is the magic? They tell you what? The interest rate pay 6%. Especially in mortgages. Oh, 6% a year, that's low interest rate. No, it's compounded interest. Every year, the 100 becomes 106, and they take the 106 and charge 6% on it, and then the following amount, and so on and so forth, to the limit that when you buy a house for $200,000, on a 6% after 30 years, at the end of the 30-year mortgage, you'd have paid 3 times that house. You'd have paid $600,000. Why? Compound interest. That's how they make money. You asked Einstein one time, what is the most powerful force in the universe? He said compound interest. And it's true. They make money out of thin air. So when you pay that $50 extra on top of the 40, not only that you reduce the balance by $50, but you stop them from the compounded interest they have charged on that $50 every month and every year. So all of a sudden, the account that would have been paid in 3-4 years, all of a sudden, it's paid in 5-6 months. And we start with the smallest account. And you keep doing it. You know what? You're paying these bills anyway. So you do the same thing, the same life, you just save that $50 a month. And now instead of paying $40 a month, we're paying now $90 a month. So, 5-6 months, all of a sudden that account is fully paid. What we do, Shaitan will come to you. Now come on, you paid it, you have $90 a month, why didn't you get that brand new thing, or that bigger plasma TV, or this fan that doesn't know? Nothing with Riba again. What would I do? Now I have the $90, I go to the next account. The next account had maybe a minimum payment of $70. I add the $90 to the $70. Now I have $160 of payments to pay the second account. That account will be paid off maybe in 3-4 months, maybe 6 months, depending on the balance. Few months that passes by, like all the months that pass by, and you paying, and we were enslaving, being enslaved for that, subhanAllah, now you have $170 to apply to the next payment, and so on and so forth. In a record period of time, not only that you're going to have all the account paid off, not only that the credit score that people care about so much is going to go through the roof because your balances are being killed, but you're going to find yourself with all the payments that you pay in interest rates and so forth. Some people have like $3,000 or $4,000 in payments a month. Even aside from the mortgages, you have that cash available to you. Now what we do, we go to the biggest nut. If people were afflicted with a mortgage, and I need to speak a little bit about mortgage because in 2005, if you go on YouTube, I have maybe 100 clips about my TV program, about religion in New York. And subhanAllah, we opened the air for people to ask questions. In 2005, at the height of real estate, everyone is calling me. What about buying a house? What about mortgages? What about buying a house? If I got $1 for each one of these questions, I'd have had $1 million by now. And I told everyone, brothers, and it's right there, 2005, but everybody thought that, even someone called me and said, why don't you want Muslims to own houses? Why are you stopping them from owning houses? And I answered, brother, you own nothing. You're enslaved by the bank. The first 5 years, every penny that you put goes directly to interest rates. I know a brother who bought a house for $270,000, 5 years, he made payments of $150,000. His equity increased only $3,000. And people are dying to do that. You know what, I'm going to give you $150,000, and if I die after 5 years, all I've saved is $3,000. And the house, after the end of the 30 years, you have paid threefold. Threefold. What kind of deal is that? People go and negotiate by the $5. But when it comes to the house, no problem. I'll pay threefold. I'll pay $400,000 extra. And the most important thing is that you do not own anything. You miss the payments for 2 months. The third month, they come and foreclose you. It's their house, not your house. You're enslaved for 30 years in that house to pay them threefold. And that's what happens. Some attractions, oh, I want a bigger house, I own the house, and subhanAllah, when you rent, you're not paying property taxes. It's included in your rent, but you're not responsible for it. You know, when you own a house, you pay for the maintenance, you pay for the water, you pay for the sewage, you pay, you know, for a ton of things, for landscaping that you're not even aware of. So you have it, you can buy it. You don't have it, you don't buy it. They'll take advantage of you, they will enslave you. And ask if the horror stories that we heard in the past 3-4 years, Americans, Muslims or non-Muslims, of what happened to them with the real estate. And as a matter of fact, the whole economic downturn started with bad mortgages, and then it escalated to everywhere. I go to the mortgage, and one Listen carefully here now. The mortgage problem is not that the house is a big purchase. Not that the house is 200 or 300 or 400,000. The problem is a very long-term loan. It's 30 years. Why is that very important? Why is that devastating? The 30 years is eternity for compounding. They tell you it's only 5% interest rate, 6%. When you compound that over a large amount for 30 years, that's why you wind up paying $400,000, $500,000 extra. I know some people, they have $500,000 cash now, they would retire, they go back home and they stop working, but they're willing to give that to the bank. So how would I go about this? Open your monthly statement. Now, with the Obama administration, they put mandate on, lending company and lending institutions that they have to put details of the bill. You're going to find your payment consisting of three things. The cost, which is fire insurance and property taxes and so on and so forth, which is things that you have to pay even if you own the house outright. And then the principal amount, which is the amount, the part of your payment that will go to pay the principal that they charge you interest upon, and the interest amount. Depending at how far are you into the loan. The first 5 years, everything goes to interest, and then start to, bigger parts of the payments go to principal, then the 5 years, payments go straight to principal. What you need to do is this. Anyway, you're making the payments, let's say, of $2,000 a month. That's your mortgage payment. And out of that $2,000, $400 go to principal. So that's the structure of your payment. You might, let's say 3 or 4 years into the mortgage. What you need to do is make your regular payment like you make it every month, the $2,000 a month. But immediately next to it, with the money that you saved from the credit cards, whatever money that you save, you write another check. Let's say tomorrow, actually January 1st, you're going to write the mortgage check for $2,000. You write another check for $400, the principal amount that you saved from the credit cards. You have now a cushion, then you pay another, so you're going to pay a total of $2,400. But with the check of the principal amount, tell him that this is the payment, the principal amount of the payment of February. And you make sure you call him, and make sure you assure them that that $400 is not going to go. What they do is that, a lot of people say, you know what, I'll pay $2,000 extra a month. What they do is that they have their calculation. You bought the house for $200,000. It should be paid off after 30 years with $600,000. So what they do, they take the $2,000 and pay it off the back end after they compounded the interest rates for 30 years. So what do you tell them? I'm paying that $400 for the immediate month, or specifically for the principal payment of the month of February. From January 1st to February 1st, they cannot charge you any interest, they cannot compound any interest upon you, because you paid them the principal payment of the month of February a month earlier in advance. Comes February, you make your payment of $2,000 and you write him another check. Here's $400 extra, that is for the principal, the principal amount for the payment of March. And you keep doing that. Now when we say the principal amount, hopefully that's what you pay, but if you can't pay more, then pay more. This is towards the principal, charge it for the immediate month. You do that, and just to understand the viciousness of compounding interest and how big of a crime it is, if you make one additional payment at the end of the year, so you make 12 monthly payments a year, you make it 13 payments, just one additional payment. It would take a 30 years loan from 30 years to 22 years. Just one payment. You know why? Because that one payment that you paid extra this year killed all the compounding interest upon it for the next 29 years. Or whatever amount that is left for the loan. If you do that now monthly, so you don't wait for them to compound interest for you, upon you, for an entire year, no, month by month I'm killing the compounding of the interest, then you can pay your mortgage off between 6.5 to 7 years. And the software for amortization tables is available there. You can try it yourself and you can play with the numbers. And the more you add, the more you get rid of it. The most important thing, inshallah, this is doable. A lot of people think back, and I've been in this country for 26 years. I have a kid in college, subhanAllah. If you look back, it passes like no time. But if you kept the discipline and made a vow with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm going to get away from the haram for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do this, 6 years is a very short period of time. And then all of a sudden, you have no mortgage, you have no credit card debts, and all the payments that used to make a month are available for you with your income. What you do with it, now you reverse the table. If you can find a halal way to invest that money, whether buy real estate for cash, or pool your money together, or find a good company that deals in halal, that does not deal in riba, does not have bonds, and you buy that company, let's say a technology infrastructure company, buy it at a good price, do your due diligence, and if that company would give you maybe a 6% to 10% return, which is very reasonable in Wall Street, all of a sudden, that halal return is now compounding with you. You have a house that is fully paid, you don't own anyone, you buy something, you can go buy whatever that you want, inshallah, for cash, and that cash that you have, or the additional money that you have, if you compound that now, the next 20 years that you saved, that you would have been enslaved, and that house just paid it off, now that $400,000 extra that you have paid on top of $200,000, the worth of the house, now that $400,000 is another $600,000 or $1 million that you compounded over the years for yourself. It's very simple. Discipline, do not weigh down. Oh, I have a lot of money now, let me go back to Egypt and act like I'm a rich tourist. Shaitan would come to you. Shaitan would, come on, they're giving you a good deal. You have great credit score. Now all your credit cards are paid. You can buy this deal and they're going to give you only 0% for 5 years, 3 years. Shaitan would come to you. They're agents of the shaitan. And there's so many temptations. You vow with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save you that. And you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your family. People, and this is documented by the numbers, with $60,000 incomes that did this after 6 years, in another 12 years they had $1 million in the retirement accounts by just compounding, profits on their portfolio, whatever investment that they have, with 8% a year. It's as if now you are the one who's making all that money, but you're making it the halal way with a return that is halal, inshallah, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even if you don't make the compound return, the money that you would save from the credit cards and the personal accounts and the mortgage is a fortune on its own. People would retire on that money. If you can go, and that's why the Obama administration, when they started that consumer protection agency, if you can, go back to your old account statements, whatever, for a mortgage or account, and just add the interest that you've been paying. Some people pay attention to that when they go at the end of the year and look at the amount of interest that they pay with the mortgage and they're happy, oh, that's tax deductible. But subhanAllah, do the math. Most of us are highly educated, subhanAllah. If I'm on a 30% tax bracket, then any tax deductible out of that dollar that I got from interest that I'm going to deduct from my taxes, I just save 30 cents. And I give the mortgage company the other 70 cents. What kind of deal is that? I save 30 cents, and for saving that 30 cents, I give you 70 cents. It doesn't make sense. But they fool you. And if you add the amounts, wallahi, if someone look at the numbers for the past 15 years, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has afflicted you with these payments and these, you have paid up, you would have retired right now with the amount of money that you gave these people. But that's riba. And that's why it's haram. And that's why they take advantage of people. And that's why they ruin societies and they ruin the world. The $6 trillion that they printed, just to bring us back to the economic level and save us from that depression that we're in. We call it recession. It's a depression that we were in. $6 trillion, you can build another planet from scratch, brand new, for $6 trillion. I remember the country of Gambia. And the entire country, the all Muslims in Africa, they had a famine, and the president was pleading with the international community, $20 million would solve the problem, will feed an entire nation. $20 million. $6 trillion what they paid. And everybody got affected. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the wisdom and shows it. I read it myself in the official newspaper of the Vatican. It's called Observatore Romano. That the Pope said, enough with what happened to us in 2008 with Western banking. I authorized the Bank of the Vatican to yield and adapt the investment ways of Islamic law. Because the only investments that did not go down, Islamic investment. Cash, you want to lend your own cash. And there's no interest. And if anyone borrow, it has to be against the collateral of cash or cash equivalent. So everything has real value. It's not, Lehman Brothers is a company that have been there for 150 years. So they issue bonds, you buy the bonds and they pay you interest. And they have nothing to cover it. So, they go out of business on a Sunday. What happens? The bonds are worthless. Who's paying? You and me, even though we don't deal in riba. So inshallah, learn, and if anyone has any questions, inshallah, I'll answer it. Write it down so you don't forget, inshallah. Tell other people about it. Make sure, and every penny they save, and every bit that they get out of the haram, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a reward, exactly the same reward that you get from it. Inshallah. And then I'll open for questions, inshallah. Yes, ma'am.
But some mortgage company will encourage you to make like 2 payments per month. Is that the same as...
No, the bi-weekly payment, if you look at it at the end of the year, you will have made an entire monthly payment. So they let you do that, and that's, if you can't do that, that is beneficial. However, the true way, the best way, is to kill the compounding of interest. Which, the way that I'll tell you, month by month, you pay the principal of the following month in advance next to your payment. And that would literally destroy the compounding interest of it, and, inshallah, you pay it off in almost no time. And the more money you get a bonus, put it in the principal, and tell them, put it from the principal now, out of the back end, apply to the immediate month's principal. Because they'll do that if you don't tell them.
So they let you do that?
What's that? Luckily, New Jersey is not a prepayment penalty state. So some mortgages in the 70s and 80s, if you want to pay it off less than 30 years, they would put a penalty upon you. They want to rip you off. Hey, I'm coming to rob you, and you stopping me? They want to do that. So they mandate a law. Most of the states are not prepayment penalty. So you can do that, but you have to go and and this is my advice to you, put a letter with that additional payment of the principal. Tell them I want it to be applied to the immediate month and with registered mail. And keep the track record. And call the customer service. Did you receive BAPMES? Did you apply to the immediate month? Every single month. Don't trust the thief to protect your money.
Or you can pay them over the phone?
What do you mean?
You could call them and you can pay them over the phone by...
No, you can pay whichever way. The direct deposit, whichever way. The payment method is not the problem. The point is that they apply the payment the correct way that you need to do. Because guess what? You are shaving the 200,000 or 400,000 extra that they're going to charge from you. They have no best interest. They actually very interested to act like they're stupid, they don't understand what you're talking about. But demand it and put it in writing. Yes, ma'am.
Bi-monthly payment has another defect. They charge you $5 or $6 every transaction charges. So over the years, that will be $5 times 12, $60 times $30 more charge.
And exactly. Yes,
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
I'll ask the easy question first.
Yes.
So if I paid off the credit card balance in full, then we are not paying any interest. Is that permissible?
For the credit card?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
When you receive the statement, the entire balance is $600. Send them a check for $600, you'll never hear from them again.
Yeah, and we can reuse the credit card again and again. That's true, right?
Yeah, but don't do that. You just pay it off and do not borrow money again.
If I pay off every month, then I'm not paying any interest, right?
At the end of the month.
Yeah.
Yes, but there's a problem with that. This is allowed. This is allowed because you actually did not borrow and nobody charged you riba.
Right.
But the contract itself is a contract of riba. And that puts you in a shubha and a doubt that you fall into. And I know people, 20 years old, they never woke up. And now they have that balance, who's going to pay it? And sometimes their family do not know. And now riba is stamped on their forehead and they cannot do anything about it. So be careful. And, I need to add something here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wisdom made one of the pillars of our deen is fasting. We deny ourselves and we're in control of our self-desires of the most basic of our desires. Eating and drinking, we're in absolute control of our beings. A Muslim, a true Muslim who sincerely fasts for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can say no to any haram. That's a training camp that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts you in every year to be able to say no to these things. So the flashy, no.
My second question
Sure.
is, so you actually said continue on paying the additional on top of the
mortgage
payment, right?
yes.
But it's still riba, right? We are paying riba, right?
Yeah, but you see,
shouldn't you say that instead of that pay off and go to rent or something, right?
no, if you can get rid of the mortgage, get rid of it right now. If you can get off it, but the problem is people who fell into it, made so much payments on it, and their credit is going to be destroyed, and people are going to sue them, and they're going to be liable for that, then now we have a problem.
No, but the time period you will be paying is still doing the haram thing, right?
Yeah, but
For example,
you
20 years.
see, in Islamic law, there's this rule. ما لا يدرك كله لا يترك كله. What I cannot have all, I should not leave all. So if you can get out, A, do not get into mortgages to begin with. That's what I've been telling people for years. But if you fell into it and you're going to have financial damage, darar, that really can affect the quality of your life in a way that is really severe, then this is a way to get out quicker. This is the quickest way possible to get out of riba without destroying yourself. But if you can, if you don't care about your credit anymore, or that you file for bankruptcy or whatever, do it, get out of riba. But I'm doing it in a way that you don't have to devastate yourself, but you get out the quickest, inshallah. Yes, ma'am. I'll get you that.
Brother, what's your opinion on some of the Sharia-compliant banking that we have now in the markets?
I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened. When guidance came out the first time, I was so happy, subhanAllah. But I know the fiqh of riba, so I called guidance. I said the most important question that you should ask any of these companies, where do you get your money from? The brother, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him, told me, you know what? There's a rich African-American brother who was in construction, and now he want to do this. So I figured, you know what, they're going to help at least some people get a riba. The following year, I get an advertising that big. We have lent $500 billion to the Muslim community and we're celebrating that $500 million. And I asked myself, which African brother that I missed, that he has $500 billion to give and he would not take it till it's 30 years. And when I asked around and I debated the people and I started, they actually are front for Freddie Mac. So the traditional mortgage company, they get it and they change the contract and relabel things. There's things that they can change that would make it halal, but they didn't make it. So in my opinion, that is even worse than the traditional mortgage. That's hypocrisy. So the relabeling of things is that. Now, I studied that, and I'm talking about as far as guidance, and that was 2 years ago. Maybe they changed it, maybe not. Now, if I want to give you a fatwa, I have to look at their contract right now that they're offering you, and I will tell you. I debated another company actually on TV, and the president wanted to shoot me. You could tell, we can watch the video online. And subhanAllah, where do you get your money from? Wall Street? He pays interest, pay riba to it. And subhanAllah, it goes and lend people. And in Islamic law, لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى, meaning that, let's say someone is a drug dealer, and his money is absolutely haram. You sell bread. Your business is absolutely halal. He comes and buys bread from you. His haram stops with him. You earn the money halal, so your money is halal. So haram does not, propagate in society. So some people would say, you know what, okay, they borrowed with haram, but they're lending according to a Sharia-compliant way. It's not Sharia-compliant, it's just labeling. That's number one. And number two, they're not even doing that. What happens is that you fill your credit application. You know what they do? They take your credit application and give it to the Moravi in Wall Street and borrow money against it. And when they say that guy's credit worthiness, okay, I'll lend you the money. And they're just a middleman in between. And that's what happens. Now, there's new things that are coming, mu'ajara and equity sharing and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of complication, but if you want to know the most important thing, there's other things that will make it halal or haram. I don't want to get too technical, but the most important thing, where do you get the money from? And again, we're Muslims. We have the money, then we buy it. We don't have the money, thank you, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And when you read people say, oh, renting and throw money in the garbage, really? What about the 5 years that you're going to pay him, and you pay him now everything in the house, the maintenance, the painting, the sewage, and so on and so forth. After 1 year, I can tell the apartment complex, goodbye. I move, I go somewhere else. Go back to country, move to another state. You cannot do that with the house. The house nails you where you are until you sell it.
So for new buyers, it's not a good idea to buy a house. That's what you're saying, right?
No, it's a good idea to buy a house, but buy it for cash. Buy it when you have the money. And the way I'm telling you, but the way I'm telling you, if you wait 10 years, with the way I'm telling you, you have no credit cards, everything is paid off, and you invest and you get a return of 8 to 10% a year. In 10 years, you buy the same house for cash. If they approve you right now, and a lot of people say, oh, you're approved, and they're so happy. They're buying a house for 3 times what it's worth. That they're going to be enslaved to that lending company. In 10 years, you're not even 10% equity in the house.
Excuse me.
Yes?
The sentence you said that you accumulate the money for 10 years and then you buy the same house with the same money is not true.
No, what I'm saying is, if for 10 years, you're saving the money, you don't have any regular payments or interest, and you invest your money with an 8% to 10% return, you can buy a house for cash. Maybe not the same house, but you can buy a house for cash.
You can buy the house, but not the same house. because the house was not 20 years ago.
But you can buy a house for cash. We agree upon that. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. As long as we put it shelter, alhamdulillah. Brother had a question. Yes.
Let's say I have a bank account at Bank of America.
Yes.
They pay my phone bill and my rent and things
Yes.
like this. When my money is in the bank account, they're using it to make loans, right?
Yes.
Is there a place where I can put my money to pay the bills where they're not going to use my money for riba?
First of all, the fact that they use your money as a collateral to do riba, that does not apply to you directly as haram, because the country allows that. Your money is still in the account, you can withdraw it any time. You're not being charged interest on it. Like myself, I put in a checking account, whatever that I have, and I pay with it, so you can be saved that way. You can pay cash money orders. There's other ways that you can do if you don't want to participate at all. There's other ways, but if you keep it in a non-interest bearing checking account, inshallah, it's allowed. Inshallah.
I have a question.
Yes.
I travel a lot. I don't carry cash, so this one of the credit card I use for travel, like gas and things. One of the bill comes up on the spot somewhere, and I always watch not to exit what is my ability to pay.
Yes.
So is that involved in that?
No, it's a doubt of being in a contract of riba, even though you're not doing riba itself. The easiest way and the best way, subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts the halal, debit cards. I put the money in my checking account, whatever is there, then I use the card against it. I don't have to worry about bills or being late or anything like that.
So I give you the debit card from the bank.
Yeah, that's the, when you check an account.
Nowadays you get a lot of 0% interest.
But that's the bait. And after a certain month, they charge.
Say for example, I have good credit and they offer you $10,000, 0% interest. And after 1 year, that will convert to 19.5.
Yes.
So I take that money, I use that money, and I have the ability to pay it back, or I go to my friend and take the money at $9,000, all right, and pay that off $10,000 after the year. So
Well, in the process of paying the balances of your credit card, if you can transfer the balances into zero interest for that year, you pay it off quickly. If you can do that, but you have to be in control and know exactly what
Oh
you're doing.
yes, I have to be
Yes.
controlled. So
Inshallah, that's it.
after 1 year, within this year, 1 year, I have to pay a single interest.
Yes, yes. That's a
Right.
really
So
inshallah.
after the year, I pay them $10,000 by any means, whatever way. All right. So that is one part I am not paying interest.
Yes.
But the contract I made, the contract is according to your definition is hard.
No, it's the contract of riba. If you're not paying interest, is a doubtful way of riba. There's doubtful ways. There's apparent halal and apparent haram. The doubtful ways you take the measurements. As the Prophet Muhammad said, halal bayyin wal haram bayyin wa bainahuma umur mushtabihat. فمن وقع في الشبهات, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever falls into doubts, surely will fall into haram. So I want to be absolutely atabarra lidini wa ardi. I want to be absolutely clear that I don't get into it. But if I am already into riba and I have a way that I can go for the $9,000 of riba, $5,000 interest free, that would help me speed the process of paying the balances, I can do that, but I should pay attention so I don't, add to the problem, inshallah. Yes, brother.
The only reason I would I have credit cards to build credit score, because if I go and try to rent an apartment, sometimes the requirement is to check your credit history. Yeah, so if you don't have good credit score, you might not be able to sign a lease.
Yeah, but
So what should we do in that case of scenario? That should be...
Well, inshallah, one of the easiest ways to build credit, and we all need it, like myself, when I get a car, I lease the car. So to lease a car, any car company, if you put a nice down payment like $2,000, $3,000 for, let's say, a Camry, and you have no late payments or anything whatsoever, they will lease you the car. That lease in the car will bring your credit score through the roof. It's halal, and you have no problem with that. Have a credit card if you can have a credit card, but make sure that it's zero balance all the time. Just for that purpose. But other than that, the most important thing is that you don't have late payments, and you don't have late payments by using the credit cards, inshallah.
I have a question about paying extra every month.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to do some math here.
Sure.
If I pay, let's say, $400 every month,
Yes.
around $4,800
A year.
1 year.
Yes.
And in 5 years, this is around $24,000.
Yes.
So I can't understand how can I repay, let's say, $300
save is the additional. The house is $200,000, 6%, 30 years, you'd have paid $600,000. What we save is not from the balance. We save in the compounding that adds another $400,000. We save in the $400,000. How? We kill in the compounding of interest. How? By making the next month principal payment now so they don't charge me interest on it. The way it's structured is that principal payment, they're going to charge me for the next 30 days for the payment of that principal. I paid in advance 1 month earlier, so they're not compounding interest upon me. So what do you save? You're going to save the 2/3 of the loan. The 2/3?
Still, it's not going to pay, let's say, if I have $300,000 house.
Yes.
Still, mathematically, it's not being paid in 6 years.
Look, what I'm saying, I gave an example, not just the principal amount. Remember, you pay in the mortgage payment, but you saved anyone with few credit cards, you saved $400, $500, $600. You have a bonus, you add to it, whatever that you can literally, by killing that $400,000 additional money, you save the 2/3 of the loan right there, if they're not compounding interest upon you. And the more you pay, the more you save from the credit card payments and you add to it. So it's not just that $400,000, I'm just giving an example. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
My question is just an extension of one of the other questions that I asked. So there's really this guidance, financial and riba financing and all these. So what you're saying is there's really no Islamic way of obtaining a mortgage?
There is an Islamic way of muhajara, meaning that he will get into a partnership with you. How much you're putting down? The house is $400,000, I'm putting $100,000 down. So you own 25%, he owns 75%. Right?
So that's partnership.
That's partnership. And then you making payments, agreed upon payments, as if it's a rent as you go. And this payment goes to increase your stake and lower his stake. Then when you sell, let's look at the percentage gain of the house. Now we sell it for $600,000. You made 50%. At the time you sell, your stake now is 40% and he's 60%. You would take 40% of the profit and he would take 60% of the profit. That's the Islamic way. And that's a good way. Okay. There's a way that he rents to own. You know, pay me rent, agreed upon rent, but a part of it goes to that he owns a percentage in the house. There's ways. But the way they do it, it's Sharia compliant way. And when you tell me Sharia compliant way in labels, and the same thing is Riba and Freddie Mac and the financing coming from Wall Street, to me exactly like getting a bottle of whiskey, stripping the label and writing orange juice on it. If you want to drink, that's up to you.
So even Riba is also the same?
You know, most likely, but I didn't study the Riba like I study guidance. But you need to do the homework and you need to, for yourself, because it's for your own protection. Ask him, where do you get your money from? And do not, be easy. Oh, we get our money from Mecca. And you say, oh, alhamdulillah, they told me from Mecca. It's good, and you deceive yourself. No, make sure that you know where they get the money from.
So, yeah, they say you don't have to worry about where you get the money from. You just worry about yourself. That's what they say. Don't worry about the money where you're getting from.
No, but but
yes,
but here's the point. If they borrowed money and took that money and took the risk of having the money, then they have committed haram because they don't know where they were. And now if they take that money and give you a truly Sharia compliant contract, then your mortgage is halal. But they don't do that. They take your credit application and go and would you Wall Street lend me like you lend any average American with any traditional mortgage. They say yes. They're going to just put a label on it and they get their cut and goodbye. And most of the people who dealt with these people, a couple of months, they sold it to a traditional mortgage company. Yes, Mr.
جزاك الله خيرا على كل ما قلته. Two things I know we live in an un-Islamic life wherever we are, whether in our own countries or here. I was reading that the needs of the Muslim could come from the dawla or the qurud min al-nas. والرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام said that إذا أقرضت أخيك مرتين فهي صدقة. I was, reading an ayah, and I'd like you to, explain it to mostly to the rich people in our, because we don't have dawla to give us loans. أنه الذين يكنزون الذهب والفضة فبشرهم بعذاب أليم. I'm not talking that, somebody come from outside and say, give me, I need it. But Sometimes, you know, you are so rich, you have the money, and here you see your own brother or your own sister or somebody, and you keeping piling in the.
No, but subhanAllah, I want to make clear, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala في سورة الأعراف also said, قل من حرم زينة الله التي أخرج لعباده والطيبات من الرزق قل للذين آمنوا في الحياة الدنيا خالصة يوم القيامة. If I pay the zakat on my money and I earn it for halal, if I have a mountain of gold, that is not cancer. 9 of the 10 people that were promised Jannah, al-Ashra al-Mashrin bil-Jannah, were very wealthy traders. Uthman ibn Affan, وكان من أتقى الناس, they, in his inheritance, were blocks of silver that they needed access to cut it so they can distribute his inheritance. There's nothing wrong with that. But the good part about the question of the brother is that if the rich people in our community get together and pull their money together and get into good investment, look at, loaning that brother money is a good investment. He has a good job, he has, a good reputation in the community, which is equivalent to good credit, and it's a good house in a good neighborhood at a good price. So inshallah, I'll get a partnership with you. Instead of leaving it in 401k and financing Pfizer and, Citibank and all that kind of stuff, I'll get it there. And subhanAllah, over a long period of time, real estate goes higher, especially commercial real estate. You can invest in that. The wealthiest people in this country do not put most of their money in stocks, but actually in commercial real estate, strip malls. That's how the rich get wealthy. So if we put our money together, inshallah, then we can sound investments, inshallah, and enrich ourselves. We can develop pieces of land. If 30 or 40 brothers come together and each one has $50,000 they're going to put in a down payment and start developing a piece of property and get approvals on it and start building houses, the value of the land that they bought that is not, built on yet, it will go through the roof. There's a million ways to help together. The key word is together. The key word is jama'ah. That's what we miss in the Muslim community. Yes, please.
I have a question. This question is for like a young people, those are people going to schools and universities. And on the other hand, I know the Quran has a solution for everything, for past, future, and present. When they go to university, they have two choices. One, they get a scholarship, or the other one is they get loan. I'm not talking about financial aid. To get a financial aid, you must put in them. So these two choices, if they cannot get a scholarship, so how do I go for education?
All right. The technical way to look at it is a different way, but you'll understand why. 2 examples. I buy a Camry, brand new Camry from Toyota Motor Company. And Toyota Motor Company tells me, you're not going to pay me in cash, so, we need to pay in payments for 5 years, we'll charge you 6%. And the car is, let's say, $22,000. Another scenario that I go to a used car dealer, there's a car for $22,000, also Toyota, whatever, another model, whatever. And the guy tells me, you know what, I'll finance it for you, and you'll pay 6%, because you cannot pay me in cash. What he would do is go to a bank, get a loan, pay the car off, get his money, and then you pay the bank the 6%. It's the same amount of payment, same amount of money, and it's a car purchase. One of the transactions is absolutely halal, the other one is absolutely haram. In Islam, Toyota Motor Company bought raw materials, took risk, hired people, manufactured something in the economy, took a risk that product would never be sold, and now when there's a time to reap the profit of the work and the economic activity they provided in society, I cannot pay more. So they have the right to add to the price or change to the price to compensate for the time I'm going to not pay them back. Here it's a matter of pricing. That 6% is a matter of pricing. If I accepted that total price of it, that is halal because I'm buying from the seller, the manufacturer, and there's no middle people in between. When I go to the used car dealership, the guy in the bank just has money. Money does not have intrinsic value in Islam. It's just a way to exchange goods and services. It does not have value in itself. He did not provide any economic activity. He did not take any risk because the car is a collateral and charge of money while sitting down. That is haram. So when we go to the college example here, if it's a subsidy from the government to facilitate the product that college is selling, then that could be factored as if it is the college selling the product that they have, and because I'm not paying upfront, then they're going to charge me interest more. If it is a student loan where I go to Citibank, hey, I'm a student, give me money so I can go pay my tuition, so there's a middleman in there, and it's not the college or through the college facilitating that subsidy from the government or from their own money, then that is haram. And then we have to be careful here, inshallah. Easier way is to beat up your children well so they can have B pluses all the time. So inshallah, that's scholarship.
Could you explain it a little bit better? Like, you saying, like, if the government gives you, is halal?
No, I'm not saying that if the government gives you. You know, the subsidies that the government gives through colleges to facilitate kids' tuitions, it has interest. But if you look at it as a product, the product is education, but the college is providing. And that interest is a matter of the pricing of that product to you. And you take it directly from the college, and the college is getting the money from the government to facilitate their own product, then that is halal, that is allowed, inshallah. But if you go to a bank on the side that has nothing to do with the college itself, totally independent, say I'm a student, give me a student loan, the bank will give it to you in a heartbeat, because the way the laws in this country is that you can file bankruptcy for any loan except student loan. Bankruptcy with no Hawaii. So banks will give you that in a second. That is haram. You went to a middleman in between, you're not getting the loan through the college itself, or it's the college's money. That's the point, inshallah.
Chef, when that applies, the college loans, does that same rules apply like a mortgage?
No, this is what I told you. If the mortgage companies that they say they're Sharia compliant took the money for their own selves, then they committed haram. But the pool of their own money that they borrowed, they're going to make mortgage from it, then that's halal for me because I didn't borrow. But what they do is that they take your application and borrow with it. They're just middlemen. They're just middlemen to facilitate the riba between you and the Wall Street guys. Totally different.
So what would be the solution? I mean, in case we get into this loans with the colleges, then
inshallah, if it's directly through college, then inshallah it's allowed.
if it's not,
If it's a bank that has nothing to do with the college, or it's not through the college, then it's
But even though if they're calling this as interest, it's still halal?
the interest here is a matter of pricing. Islam allowed this. This is bayna. Because halal in Islam in a transaction is in the taradi and adam al-ghaban. Meaning that it's that I'm satisfied with it, and you're satisfied with it, I'm the buyer, and you're the seller, we're both satisfied, and there's full disclosure. It didn't cheat me, if the product does not have a problem, anything like that, then if I agree, then it's halal. So a product that sells for $10 outside, and me and you agreed that I buy it from you for $15, and you give me full disclosure, and I'm aware that it sells for $10, and I agree, absolutely halal. It's a matter of pricing.
So you can apply the same rule to the mortgage as well, saying that, I agreed to buy this house.
No, but I just told the brother, it's not their money.
No, I'm not talking about Islamic mortgage, I'm talking about just regular mortgage.
Yes, but,
So you said instead of going to Islamic financing, you can go directly to FINRA.
No. Brother, you just hurt me by saying that.
Can you buy their house from the developer?
If the developer is giving you the terms and the financing, yes. If he brings a bank in between to pay him off, then that's wrong. The middleman that comes in with the money, if you buy from the seller, the owner, then it's halal. I'll give you an example. A lot of foreclosures happen. What does that mean, foreclosure? Somebody could not pay the house, the bank will lend them the mortgage, took the house back. Who owns the house now? The bank. The bank is the owner. If I go to that bank and they give me a traditional 30-year mortgage with 6% interest, and I'm buying it directly from them, that's halal. Because they're selling me the product that they took a risk in and they have it in their inventory.
What if the developer says that this is my product cost $100,000, $98,000,
Yes.
and within this period, whatever it is, $2,000 of the interest, I will have to pay to borrow $10,000 from the bank to replenish my capital. In that case, $2,000 is disclosing.
Yes.
$2,000 I am borrowing from X.
But who owns it? Him or the bank? He owns it.
House he owns it.
He owns the house. So the one who owns the house is the one selling to you. How he facilitates, how he runs his business, that's his haram and halal, totally separate from you. I bought from the seller who owns it. There's no middleman in between. And he's giving me the terms according to whatever mechanism of his business, that's halal.
So in this context, if he doesn't say that $2,000 is my interest component.
If I agree that, you know what, it's your house, you own it, and I'm buying it for you, and the payment is that is bank. That is not
we should buy from the developers.
John.
Money that I'm investing in different percentage. So can you please tell us?
The 401k is a problem, and my advice to people, first of all, the biggest problem with it is that they don't give you freedom into choosing what to invest in. Usually they want you to own the company's money and the company's stock, and they put certain mutual funds, and most mutual funds, they deal in riba. You don't know what they're buying or what's selling.
You can choose your own fund.
Not all of them, some, but that some is very few. So again, it's haram to dump the whole thing. So my advice is that just pay what they're matched. So some people pay more than the company pays. No, just pay. If they pay $1, they match. You know, if they match you with $1, and the maximum they would match you is $1, just put that $1 that they are willing to match you. And then look at it, inshallah, and stay away from income funds. Income funds are all bonds and riba. Try to be in technology and growth technology funds, not income technology funds. These are the least susceptible to interest and investments funds. And over the long term, inshallah, they will do more.
Can you go to the dividend earning funds only?
No, the dividends is halal. The dividend, if it's a business, is halal. So let's say Microsoft paid a dividend the other day, that's halal. Microsoft is a halal business.
What I did, I asked them that this fund, does it have any bond income or anything else? They said no. I said all these are dividend incomes. They said yes. So
no, when you say income funds, guaranteed they're bonds and bonds.
I personally mentioned dividend.
If they said dividend only, then the question becomes dividends of which companies? Because Time Warner, with cable entertainment, or maybe Citibank pays a dividend or whatever, where do you own the company? Most of the time, you're going to have riba exposure. Your best bet is growth technology funds.
What about Amana funds?
Amana funds, they're Sharia compliant. I didn't study it all, but from what I heard so far, alhamdulillah. Yes, bro.
In 401k, right, the categories mostly they have is multi-cap funds. I mean, I've not seen the growth funds category, so is that like...
No, most of the brothers who showed me the 401k to advise them on, there is a growth component of technology fund. The word balance, you want to stay away. Balance means that some component of income and some component of growth. Whenever you see income, that's riba, most of the time. Inshallah, we're going to need to end it, inshallah, so...
Yeah,
yes.
you know, do you want to continue, or it's like...
Let's have a time limit. Let's have a time limit.
Maybe 15 more minutes.
Which organization would like
No one is perfect. Each case depends on whatever.
Just say somebody really need want to buy a house.
يعني انت تدور على حاجه يعني في حاجه فيها مهاجره. You're gonna find someone. I heard about someone is مهاجره. And inshallah, bring it to me. I'll look for it, inshallah. And if it's good, I'm the first one to endorse it.
Let me repeat the question when you say question.
I'll repeat it.
Yes. You said that if a house is on foreclosure and if banks on that house,
yes,
so we can buy using the mortgage at that.
You can buy from the same bank directly. If it's a house that is owned by the bank itself.
Okay. So
and even if they charge an interest, then that's a matter of pricing because that's the product of the bank. There's no middleman.
This means that, I mean, if any house is on foreclosure and bank owns it, I can...
Some people call the big banks and tell them, show me your portfolio of foreclosures. And they would tell you, you know what, in this town we have this, and then you go around, and if you see someone, then you apply, buy it from them. It's a good price. I think the government up to a certain time would give you even, I think, $7,000 to fix it or something like that. And even if they charge you interest, it's halal because they own it. There's no middleman.
Okay. How about Sharia compliant stocks investing in?
You know, if the business is halal, if it's truly Sharia compliant, then it's halal.
Like Dow Jones, they sell their own stocks with Sharia compliant.
You know, I have to look into it, but most of them so far that I studied, you know, they just borrow from Wall Street using your name. Yes, sir.
Maybe last question. We know that Riba has no kafara.
Yes.
Just for a tarheeb, what is the punishment
against Allah and His Messenger. That is not said about zina, as big as a fahisha. No, كان فاحشة وساء سبيلا. It's an abomination and it's the worst of way to do it. That is zina. Riba, you're not just angering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala disobeying, you have raised the sword as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before you, and you're fighting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What happened to that? Why? Because even though it's a little credit card, it's a little house, when it's added up, when it compiles, we see the devastation of the entire world, the good and the bad. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us that warning against it, inshallah.
So car finance, you're saying that for any car maker, like Toyota, Honda, or anybody, you can just finance with
If the financing coming from the company itself, even if the company itself borrows.
But I heard that like let's say Toyota, the financing company, they're different part of it or
If it's
something.
When you talk about big companies, they're conglomerates. They're a big holding company and it has many subsidiaries,
Right.
fully owned by them.
Right.
So if it's Toyota Motor Credit, their profit and the entire being is owned by Toyota itself. Then Shar'an, it is a part of Toyota.
How you know that when you're financing, you ask them this good thing is the
Now who's doing the financing? Is Toyota Motor Credit. Usually Toyota, credit company or Honda, the major, Ford is the same thing.
Any car maker.
Yes. And if you go to one of them and tell, you know what, you're a new buyer or whatever, then we have this bank that can do the financing. Refuse. Refuse.
Is it okay to invest in gold to save your money from inflation?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The points that you get off the credit cards, even though you didn't pay any interest, but you get points and they send you like $200 for the points?
If it's a promotion thing or because you spend the money, but there's no riba, and you didn't pay any riba, and again, it's a doubtful thing, but you can use that, but be careful because all that to make you spend and fall into riba. The best invention in the world when it comes to that is debit cards. And save you some, inshallah, inshallah. Gold also, I just want to give you an example. For the brothers, I've seen myself a gold coin that was issued in 1942 for $10. So you gave the bank $10 in 1942, they give you that $10 coin. Today it's worth $900 and add the historical value. They keep printing money. How they sold that $6 trillion? You think that $6 trillion worth of gold that they sold to issue that money? No, print us more money. They print so much money they're running out of trees right now. So gold is a good way, inshallah, to keep the value and fight the inflation that is caused by none other than riba, inshallah.
What about IRA and all IRAs?
These are investment tools and advise every brother to learn about it. Because you save a lot of money in taxes, there's legal ways. I advise you, if you need, I know a good Muslim financial planner that can save you a ton of money legally with structured things. For example, if you have a SIP-IRA, you own a business, you have the right to take 25% of your income and put it in an IRA account where you can invest tax-free till you retire. So you make $100,000 self-employed, $75,000 only are you going to pay taxes. Legally, the government does that. You can gift your children $13,000 a year and it's tax-free. There's so many ways that you can save. You use it, the laws are designed for that, so learn that. A lot of people, inshallah, do that. Yes, but I'm sorry.
What about in times of unemployment? I mean, you just need to get by a couple of months or something.
Well, if it's a necessity, I'd rather that I go to a Muslim brother and borrow money from him. Aqard Hasan, and there's a lot of good brothers that will do that, that I go to a credit card. If it's a matter of life and death, and this is something that a lot of people say, darura, they think darura is, when the air conditioning is, losing 1 degree up or down. Darura min ad-dar, in the Arabic language is harm. It's a matter of life or death. So, inshallah, whatever that you can, but don't fall into it, inshallah. And I want you to know slavery, al-abudiyya. When it happened mostly the main source for it at the time of Muhammad is that I lend you money, you don't pay, then I owe you, and I owe your family, I owe your children. I take you and sell you in the market. That's how slavery started. Riba. The last question, inshallah. Yes,
I have a follow-up question on the buying houses on foreclosures.
Yes.
The bank is not in the business of buying and selling houses. Right?
That's not a condition.
Huh?
That is not a condition. The condition to make it a halal transaction that I'm buying from the owner. Whether the owner in the business of owning that or he just owns that product. If I bought it from him directly, there's no middleman, and there's a tarari, there's an exception, an acceptance and fruitful disclosure about the product, then it's allowed and it's halal inshallah. That's not a condition of making it halal inshallah. Final question inshallah.
But over there they will check your credit too.
Where? Yeah, you're applying, in a regular way, no problem. You have all the payments the same way, but the transaction itself is halal, inshallah. Inshallah.
Being a realtor as a job.
Realtor is halal unless you have the business card of the mortgage company, which they give you points or perks for promoting their business. Then you're promoting the business of the Qurani. But to help people buy houses and good prices, absolutely halal.
You're involved with the transition, the loan and...
No, I am showing you the house. How you buy the house, that's your business. Unless I tell you, what, I know a good mortgage company, we're going to give you a good deal. Then I fell into Riba myself. Inshallah, I hope that we tell everyone that we know. Please write it down so you don't forget. Make a vow, inshallah, and transform the debts and the enslavement of credit card companies and banks into true equity and true ownership, inshallah, in this country. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you, falling into Riba to begin with, and getting you out of Riba, inshallah, for your sake and your family as fast as possible. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us.
We would like to thank Imam Moustafa Zayed for coming here tonight at MCMC and giving a very beneficial presentation which has practical implications. I hope that you benefited from this session, and I would like Imam Moustafa Zayed to just give a brief overview of the upcoming debate with Robert Spencer, and inshallah close the program with Quran.
Yes, inshallah. I think most of you know that the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I offered the book, The Lies About Muhammad. There was this book, The Truth About Muhammad, that Robert Spencer, probably the biggest basher and attacker of Islam worldwide. He's in that business. There's an extreme Zionist organization that was just released in the Jerusalem Post that they funneled to him $920,000 in 3 years alone. And that's what we know. There's many other people that fund that man. The amount of lies and fabrication in that book is mind-boggling. So one of the ladies in the class that I give in ICJ, been giving a class for 5 years for people who just accepted Islam, came to me with tears and said, you know what, this is what they push to us. Is this the prophet that you follow? Is this the religion that you follow? About 155 of the worst fabrication on lies that would make you blood boil. And, I told myself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked me, whatever knowledge that I have, what did you do about this? For the past 2 years, I authored the book, alhamdulillah, and released it. It's called The Lies About Muhammad, How You Were Deceived into Islamophobia. It's available on Kindle, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all over the place. Alhamdulillah, people picked it up, and it did a lot of damage to him. SubhanAllah. He's on Fox News and CNN, almost he lives there. And I have minimal exposure. But yet, the points that he used to make a big fuss about it, that I mopped the floor with him in the book, with the Quran and Sunnah, he does not discuss anymore. But he still makes that claims, oh, this supremacist religion, the jihad this and stealth this and that. Alhamdulillah. So I debated him in a Christian channel out of Michigan the other day, on last Tuesday. And inshallah, Imam Zaban, he said he has the link, and we have access to it, my 15 minutes, which we did very well, inshallah, as much as we could. But obviously, they were defeated, so now he won another match. So now we designed this program that's going to be on the 28th of January, an hour and a half, and it's going to be timed by the minute, because they tried to cut my volume, and they gave him the beginning speech, and at the end, and they gave him way more time than they gave me. And I debated him and Daniel Pipes together. They're the two worst ever in the world about Islam. So inshallah, it's going to be on the 28th, and I'm going to send a link to Sheikh Zaman, inshallah, to announce it. And inshallah, I urge you, please get that book, give it to your children, read it for yourself, understanding. So many people, good Muslims, that come to me, and my son came from college and he denounced Islam, and my daughter denounced Islam. Why? They heard one accusation about Islam, like the marriage of Sayyidah Aisha, or the marriage of Sayyidah Zainab bint Jahsh, or jihad this, and what? It could be diffused with one line, one sentence, one ayah. And they do not know, and the parents do not know. And our kids are bombarded in public schools. So we need to protect ourselves. If someone who fears Islam, hand it to him. If someone who is, attacking Islam, hand it to him and let him read it. And some of the people just deceive like anyone else and they think, you know what, Islam is a vicious religion, violence, terrorism, and all that kind of stuff. Till you tell them the truth. Because it is about the existence that we have in this country, inshallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give us izz and give us man'a for Islam and make us the protectors of His deen, inshallah. Jazakallah.